Hello, everybody. Welcome to Little Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel and drop a like on this video. I am trying to hit 25,000 subscribers, so your subscription would be much appreciated. I'm trying to do these post game recaps or like the immediate reactions rather over here on like recording them at my house just because it makes it a lot easier to get these videos out and also live my life in a semi normal human way because the way I've been doing it has been keeping me up till 4 a.m. and I'm just not seeing anybody. So, I'm trying to green screen this time. I tried the corner with my weird ass canvas. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna put like the game footage on behind me. I'm gonna distort the hell out of it because I don't want to deal with copyright claims at all. And if that happens, then we won't do this. But just let me know what you think of the background. With that said, let's go ahead and talk about Houston versus Golden State game two. Now, the first thing that needs to be addressed, of course, is the Jimmy Butler injury. That was very unfortunate. And all if you're not a Houston Rockets fan, if you're just a basketball fan, you should be, unless you really just hate the Warriors. Just for the sake of good hoops, you guys should be praying that Jimmy Butler is healthy because I think this series has the makings of an excellent playoff series. This second game was kind of underwhelming, both because of that injury and also, like, I think just by virtue of Houston's offense being as good as it was, it did lose a little bit of its the same. It wasn't the same flavor as game one. I'm kind of starting to love this Houston Rockets team though, even though I would have enjoyed if the score was closer. I do really like a lot of guys on this team. And when I talked about my favorite player on each team, when I did that video on this channel, I said that Jabari Smith Jr. was my favorite player on the team. I completely forgot Amen Thompson because I do like Amen more, but I said he was the only one, again, forgetting Amen Thompson. So those two were really the only players that I loved. And like, I mean, they still are the only players that I love on this team, but I have grown to like a lot of the other players. Jaylen Green is the exact archetype of player who can be a little bit annoying to me. You know, he's in that same Zach LaVine, very shooting guard archetype where I do feel like the shooting guard position is becoming really obsolete in the NBA in terms of the traditional sense of it. So oftentimes I find Jaylen Green hard to watch. However, when his shot is dropping, he's a truly electrifying scorer. Alfred Şengün's game has grown on me quite a bit as someone who's definitely been a doubter in the past. I don't think he gets enough credit. I don't know if credit's the right word, but just enough attention to how unique and interesting his jump shot is and like the way that he initiates floaters. It's just unlike any other player that I have ever seen. A lot of people draw comparisons to Pau Gasol with him, and I can see just like the very obvious like skill set stuff why that gets a comparison, but just in terms of their movement set, it is dramatically different. And also, Şengün was someone who I hated on because his defense was bad, but his defense isn't bad anymore, so it makes him a pretty enjoyable player to watch. Now, I can't stand Fred VanVleet. I think Fred VanVleet is extremely overrated and bad. Not bad, but like I don't know that he should have played the most minutes of anybody in this game, at least for the Rockets. And yeah, of anybody in this game, he played 42. I don't know what Fred VanVleet does that makes it to where he has to be on the floor to this degree. He's a good defensive player. He's a pretty good playmaker. His three-point shot can be very good. However, it oftentimes is not because he's a very hot or cold player. But I'm not trying to spend a bunch of time hating right here. I gotta give credit to Jaylen Green because he had 38 points, and I'm doing this thing for the recap video. Which, by the way, please still watch the post game recaps the morning after the game because there's a lot more in-depth stuff with actual footage and further research into the game. This is just fresh after the buzzer has sounded for me. So it's not the same experience. I do worry that these videos are detracting from how those perform, and if that's really the case, we're probably going to have to switch some stuff up. But in my notes where I did questions for going into the game, my third question was, does Jalen Green suck? Because I won't say I've been on the fence. I've definitely been on the Jalen Green probably sucks side of things more so than the no, you just gotta see. But he gave us the flip side of the Zach LaVine, Bradley Beal type of player experience, which is when the shot is dropping, they look unbelievably good. And in this game, the shot was very much dropping for Jaylen Green, finished 8 for 18 from outside. He very much unloaded the clip. And there's probably four, maybe even five 3-pointers of the 10 that he missed where I was like, bro, you didn't need to do that. Like the thing that is tricky about these microwave type players is when they start to heat up a little bit, then they start to take some reckless ass shots. And I think he did a good enough job of reining it in. I was worried he would take it to a point where he ended up, undoing the goodwill that he did and losing the actual positive overall game. But no, he kept his cool. His shooting was great. Some of the stuff that he did inside the arc was great. Yeah, he was 5 for 7 from there. Hit, I think, 2 mid-range shots, and the mid-range shot I gave a lot of criticism to him for it in the one that he took in the last 2 minutes of the game, in game one, and he hit him in this game, so that's good. He has been a bad mid-range shooter percentage-wise historically, even though he does like to take them, which is a brutal combination for inefficiency in the NBA. But an efficient 38 points, very big response because the question, does Jalen suck? It's not answered, and it wasn't going to be answered by game two if it went in a negative direction either. However, if it did go in a negative direction, again, it would have really doubled down on feeling like, yeah, he probably sucks. Well, we'll see. But the guy genuinely has a good jump shot. At least the form looks good, and he's very good at generating space for it. And he's super athletic. He has pretty good handle. His playmaking is an area that also is a negative, again, with this Zach LaVine archetype player. But 6 assists in this one. A couple of really strong reads in there. My favorite one came in the first quarter where he had a drive on the fast break. He jumped and got both defenders, his and the rim protector, to jump with him, and then he threw a pass to a cutting Amen Thompson for the dunk. Really love that. You guys know that I will do anything and everything to mention the relationship between scoring and playmaking, and whenever I see it on full display to that type of extent, I really appreciate it. As for everybody else, Şengün's box score wasn't the best. He's 6 for 15, but he got 16 boards and 7 dimes, so it kind of makes up for missing. If he made 2 more shots, he would have been over 50%. So yeah, I think he's good there. Was this the third? No, it was the first half. So it was the second quarter. Yeah, it was the second quarter where they hit 6 straight threes between both of these teams. Each one, three each, possession after possession. There wasn't a possession where something else happened in between. No, 3-pointer from, I think the order was Şengün, then it was Buddy Hield, then it was Fred VanVleet, then it was Steph, and then it was Jalen Green, and then it was Steph. Steph had to get 2 in there, of course, for the Dubs. But wow, that was something, because up until that point in the game, as the first game was, it was definitely not as rock fighty as the original game, but the Warriors were especially in dire straits, and offensively speaking, the Rockets weren't exactly, on fire by any means. So to just all of the sudden the game turned from this physical, like, reminds you of the old era of the NBA basketball to like some all-star shit, that was certainly something. Now, as for some reasons why the Golden State Warriors lost beyond the Jimmy Butler thing, I don't think you can blame this loss solely on that, because of the fact that Jimmy Butler or no, the Warriors were going to be down 10 in the first quarter anyways. But that is a deficit that is surmountable, so it's hard to blame it on that. Pat Spencer, 5 for 7 from the field in this one, also held up defensively pretty well. I tweeted out and wrote down in my notes that him checking in was purely an ego check out of Steve Kerr, and then he hit 5 of his 7 shots, banked in a top of the key 3, ran well in transition to get a couple of layups, and I was like, it was I whose ego was burned here. But frankly, I still feel kind of bad about Steve Kerr in this one, because please explain to me why Moses Moody played 24 minutes in this one. He was good. Like, he was good, and for some reason the Rockets made their defensive scheme to put him on Moody instead of Draymond Green. I'm feeling like that's one of those things that I'm just not smart enough to pick up on the nuances of why that was supposedly a good decision. But Moody's 2 3-pointers in the first quarter was like basically the only scoring that was done in the half court for the Warriors. The other was a Steph pull up three. So, like, I think that the Dubs only got 18 points in the first quarter. I don't understand why he doesn't play more. Steve Kerr might hate it feels like he hates Moses Moody or just is fully not cognizant of the positive that he brings. 12 points in 24 minutes. That scoring ratio, dude, he could have got you like 17, 18 points and that's an amount that would be helpful. Like I truly feel like he's the guy to if there's anyone on this Golden State Warriors team who is capable of doing a little bit more in terms of shooting the ball, getting opportunities to score. Like he's pretty good at attacking off of the catch. He doesn't make dumb decisions with the ball in his hands. He's a good 3-point shooter, 3 for 6 from outside in this one, and he plays pretty damn good defense. I don't understand how this guy doesn't play, but like oftentimes in the first game, it felt like Gary Payton played damn near as much. He didn't as much in this one. But, Quentin Post is getting the same amount of opportunity as Moses Moody, despite the fact that he is a pretty one-dimensional player. He's a pretty good defender, all things considered, but he has his issues. He got burned on some switches by Jaylen Green in the second or third quarter a few times. But his three-point shot was good. Like, I'm not trying to say Quentin Post shouldn't play 24 minutes, but like, I would cut Looney out of the rotation entirely. Get Kevon Looney out of there because he was bad for the most part. He did get 3 dimes, mostly just handoff stuff, but still good on him there. But like, he shot a mid-range shot and it was awful, dude. I thought like a gun went off. But like, give Santos his minutes, give Looney's minutes. Like, I would much rather Moses Moody play 24 minutes than 20 or 34 minutes than 24. And I just think it would work so much better. I don't get why he has played so little. Maybe I'm like just seeing more in Moses than is actually there, but I really feel like it's the opposite. I feel like Steve Kerr is just not appreciating what Moses is able to bring to the table. Steph Curry had a rough one. We know this. The Warriors this season, before they got Jimmy Butler, Steph was averaging like 22 points per game, and the reason for that is he is not the same player that he was. He cannot carry the load to the extent that he has in the past. He cannot just be like, okay, I'm going to average 32 points per game and get us through the fact that we have a bunch of fucking bums on this roster. But the fact of the matter is, it is Steph Curry, and now he is 37, I believe. He is not that fast off of the dribble. He can still do a good amount of shot creation, but there is only so much one man can do. And on top of that, it's fine for him at his age to not be able to handle the defense loading up entirely on him alone. That is a very difficult circumstance for a player of any age, but for how much he has to move, for how much he has to carry the load offensively, he just can't do it like that at this age. And on top of that, I just don't think that works in the modern NBA. Even if he did a good enough job of doing that, I don't think, if Steph averaged 32 for the rest of the series instead of 20, would they play better? Would the games be closer? Sure. Are they going to win because of that difference? I really don't think so. And even if he managed to put that up in spite of all the perseverance, I just don't see that you can give him that, like, yeah, he's not going to do that. But even if he did, they're still not going to be fucking good enough. So I'm really praying Jimmy Butler comes back. I also have to point out Jonathan Kuminga getting 26 minutes, 11 points, 4 of 12 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, which is encouraging. But at the same time, the fact that means that he went 3 for 7 from inside the arc. I guess that's not that egregious, but it's not great. Missed some mid-range shots, missed a floater point blank after he pushed Jaylen Green away from him. Like, not even barely a floater, like right on the cusp of just being a straight up layup. So yeah, going into Golden State with their backs against the wall, the Dubs do have their crowd on their side. That is very good. But the Rockets at like the very end of the season got a win in that arena. And if I'm not mistaken, it was the first time that happened, or maybe it happened earlier in the season, and it was the first time that had happened in like a very long time. One way or the other, Golden State, if Jimmy Butler even misses one game, I think they will lose that game. If Jimmy Butler is out for the series, I think they might get swept. Maybe you will swept from here, a gentleman sweep overall. You might get a game because Steph just has 40. That's that's not going to happen enough though. So let's hope Jimmy Butler is okay. We really need Jimmy Butler to be okay. But yeah, pretty good game, all things considered. The injury and all of that, the fact that it was pretty much the Rockets game the whole way through, still entertaining enough. I'd give it like a C on that scale. I think we're just gonna pick up the tier list for game shit like after the first round, or I don't know. It's something that we keep like it's literally something that'll take an hour to do, but it's an hour that just keeps escaping us because other shit is going on. So I apologize for that. But anyways, that is it. Thank you so much for watching and goodbye.